So if anyone ever makes a claim about Islam or Christianity, the quick response you can say is, what does the man and what does the book say? What does the man of Christianity say? What does the book of Christianity say? What does the man of Islam say? What does the book of Islam say? So
and of course we affirm that Jesus is God as well, but it just helps when we explain that.
The book and the man. So I've given you a comparison that we use a lot. We use this with Muslims a lot to show why we don't accept Muhammad as a prophet, and also why Jesus absolutely is God who come to walk and talk with us. Who is the model for today? So this comparison just gives you a real helpful little deep understanding and insights into the core model of both our religions, Islam and Christianity. Start with Jesus. He was born supernaturally. He was born of a virgin. Nobody else in this room was born of a virgin. Something very unique, something very special about this man. Even the Quran says Jesus was born of a virgin. Muhammad was born just like you and I. There's nothing special about this man. Then you have Jesus. From a very young age, he was biblically literate and he was spiritually mature to the point where the religious leaders in the temple, when he was 12 years old, were shocked by how much he knew. Muhammad came from a pagan family. He was a pagan, and he, according to most Islamic traditions, was illiterate. He couldn't read or write. Jesus, when he came into his ministry, he was a man who had nowhere to lay his head. He was poverty-stricken. In fact, there was women who traveled with them and out of their means supported them and helped them with food and so on. And he had nowhere to lay his head. When Muhammad came to power, when he marauded into villages and took control over them, he took 20% of the wealth and the loot for himself. When Jesus came into his ministry, he performed miracle after miracle after miracle that showed he had power over life and death and health and the weather even. Muhammad did no such miracle. He was not a man of miracles. When Jesus came into his ministry, he healed the blind. He raised the dead. He healed withered hands. When Muhammad came into power, he branded his enemies' eyes and blinded them. He took the walking and he made them lame, the opposite of what Jesus did. And under Islamic law, Muhammad did this. He cut someone's hand off for simply stealing an egg, and that is right through Islamic law. When Jesus was in his ministry, when the immoral woman or the woman of the night wept on him and asked for forgiveness, he reinstated her and transformed her and forgave her, something that Muhammad did the opposite of. He stoned the immoral woman. A verse in the Quran that has been taken out is called the verse of Rajm, the verse of stoning. It no longer exists in the Quran because according to Islamic tradition, it was apparently eaten by a goat. And so it's not there anymore. It's been replaced with whipping the adulterer, which is still in Islamic law. Jesus raised the dead. Muhammad killed the living over and over and over again, including a woman, a mother, whose uncle had been killed by Muhammad, and she was feeding her baby one day, and Muhammad said, "Who will get rid of this woman for me?" One of Muhammad's followers went and put a sword through her chest as she fed her baby, and she died with her children around her, and Muhammad affirmed him for what he had done. That's the kind of man Muhammad was. So Jesus raised the dead, Muhammad killed the living. Jesus freed and forgave those who were against him. Muhammad killed his enemies and condemned those who were against him. Jesus was sinless and righteous, and that is both according to the Quran and also the Bible. The Quran says Jesus was righteous. The Quran says Muhammad had to ask for forgiveness on 3 separate occasions. Muhammad was not only a sinful man according to the Quran, he is absolutely a sinful man according to the Bible, and he is absolutely a sinful man according to secular law. He was an unrighteous man. Jesus was sinless, Muhammad was sinful. Jesus died for sinners. Muhammad killed sinners. Do you see the difference? Pulls apart these two religions. And there's a beautiful story of a radical Muslim man, part of the Muslim Brotherhood in Britain. And he went to Saudi Arabia because he wanted to go to the heart of Islam. He had followed Muhammad to a T, exactly as he should as a Muslim. And when he got to Saudi Arabia, he, as a doctor, was utterly appalled at the abuse of women and children in that country. He became so disillusioned with Islam, he realized that Islam had not worked in this country that is the heart of the Islamic faith. He was given papers by our colleague Jay Smith, and these papers challenged the authority of Muhammad. And he first of all got incensed and then saw that everything that these papers said about Muhammad was true. And then he read the verses in the Bible where Jesus is on the cross and he says, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." And he committed his life to the Lord Jesus then and there. He left radical Islam and became a radical Christian and brought his whole family to faith and began to love his enemies. And this is the clincher. Muhammad is dead. Muhammad can help no one. Muhammad cannot help his Muslim followers. Muhammad can do nothing for you. Jesus is alive. He reigns on high. He can transform our lives. He can transform society. And he is the only answer to radical Islam. And we carry that message and we take it to the world.